Well, friends, thanks for being with us. We may have some more folks coming in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. This is our fourth session of 5 about exploring the PCUSA's Becoming a Matthew 25 Church initiative. And I'm pretty sure all of you have been here before for this program and have an idea of what this program is about. And so Matthew 25 is about being compassionate and seeking peace and justice for the least of these, and specifically looks at the areas of building congregational vitality, eradicating systemic poverty, and dismantling structural racism. And it's a program that's been adopted by Presbyterian churches across the nation. And they are doing some amazing work in their communities. And we're already participating in that work as well. And we hoped that towards the end of this program, our session in church will adopt this name of Matthew 25, even though we're already doing it. Debbie Jones told me, well, aren't we like a Matthew 17 church and a John 3 church and a Psalm 23? I'm exaggerating a little bit, but we are a biblical church. There is no doubt about that. But we are specifically looking at ways that we can seek compassion and mercy and justice for our neighbors. And so we've been looking at our local context over the past couple of weeks and have had some wonderful speakers. And I know that y'all have learned a lot. I certainly have. Today, we're going to learn about a little more globally, I believe, and I'm going to turn it over to Miss Colleen Shannon, who is also going to highlight our wonderful mission market, and she has a wonderful bargain discount, I guess, not bargain, but so seek the woman in the little green hat if you want to learn more about that. But so Colleen, take it away.
Well, you may see one of these little squares that says June Colleen, and that shows shelving in the mission market where I am right now. Some of old, new equal exchange products. So if tonight you want to place an order, you will get 10% off of your entire mission market order, and you can place your order in chat. And Meredith and I are actually going to stay around after 7:30 and take orders in person if you want to do that.
What a gift to us. I can't wait to buy all the olive oil and equal exchange coffee and chocolate, and y'all better put your orders in or I'm going to buy it all. So if you don't know how to use the chat, you can, if you want to text me, you can, or if at the end you just want to tell me verbally, I'll write it down. But the easiest way is to type it in the chat box. So,
and I think all of you have my email, so here for you to send me an email, you just go ahead and do that. But I am delighted tonight to welcome Sklar to share with us. Susan has been a worker of equal exchange for 17 years, and she'll tell you more about what that means. She has also been an educator, a writer, an administrator, and an organizer, and she brings all of that to her position as the coordinator of the interfaith team. And so, Susan, I'm going to let you take it away. We have Susan has a presentation that Kelly's going to help her with, and then we will have questions at the end of the presentation. So if you want to put them in chat as we go along, do that, or just save them till Susan has finished.
Wonderful. And friends, if you'll go ahead and mute yourselves so that we don't have any disruptions or phone calls or dogs barking, I would appreciate that. And we are so grateful for Susan's joining us by Zoom. Susan.
Well, hello everyone, good evening, and happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm delighted to be here. I've known Colleen for a long time. She is a great advocate and friend, and just was so pleased when she invited me to come to give this presentation tonight. So we're going to why don't we just go ahead and put the first slide up there. My face will disappear, but you will hear my voice, and then I'll be back at the end to see you again, but I'll be there. And if you have any questions, definitely put them in the chat. All right. So I'm going to assume that some of you don't know about equal exchange. Many of you do. We need to go back up to the first one, the first slide. Yeah. But Equal Exchange is a 35-year-old organization. It was founded in 1986 as the first fair trade organization in the United States. And then the Interfaith program, so I'm the manager of the Interfaith program that works with all the faith-based partnerships, was started 10 years later. So that program is 25 years old. It's our 25th anniversary of working with faith-based groups, such as PCUSA. And the PCUSA partnership is 20 years old as of this year. So during this presentation, I'll be describing the mission of Equal Exchange, and we'll feature a handful of cooperatives that we deal with that illustrate how the Equal Exchange model helps to eliminate racism and systemic poverty.
Susan, can I interrupt for just a moment?
Sure.
Kelly, go ahead and share the presentation and just use the arrows at the very bottom to navigate to the first slide. So you'll just have to hit the left-hand arrow a couple times to get there. So go ahead and share the screen again. I can't hear you, Kelly, so I don't know what you're saying. Sorry.
There's always a technological glitch, folks.
Okay, we're patient.
Don't worry. I'm sure we'll recoup in a moment.
Yeah, give it just a second.
There we are. Beautiful. Thank you. So you can go to the second slide here. Great. Thank you. Beautiful. So Equal Exchange's mission is to build, I'll just read it out loud so we're not all reading at different paces, to build long-term partnerships that are economically just, environmentally sound, to foster mutually beneficial relations between farmers and consumers, and to demonstrate through our success the viability of worker cooperatives and fair trade. So there are many goals that are built into the Equal Exchange mission. We're not only trying to change the way that trade is done in the world so that it's more fair to farmers, we're also trying to eliminate systemic poverty and work against racism, work against gender inequality, and our model also promotes stewardship of the earth through organic and sustainable agricultural practices and caring for creation. So we can go to the next slide, please. So these are some of the principles of fair trade: direct partnerships, long-term relationships, guaranteed minimum price, additional fair trade premiums, and then farmers have access to credit to avoid predatory loans that keep them in debt. Next slide, please. So we work with democratically run farmer cooperatives, small scale farmers, which means they usually have farm plots of 2 to 5 hectares, which is about 12 acres or less. And the challenges for farmers include remoteness and expense of equipment. So these are other things that are involved in the Equal Exchange model. We do not buy from, source from plantations. We do not, there's no child labor allowed. Again, democratically run cooperatives that give farmers a voice. There's always gender equity training and an emphasis on encouraging women farmers. We use sustainable practices and the long-term relationships. And we visit quite often. Not this past year during COVID, we didn't visit, but we usually visit every 1 or 2 years, every one of our co-ops. So Equal Exchange was structured as a worker-owned cooperative from the start, our own organization. And our organization has 120 members in our cooperative. So every member of our group is also a co-owner of the business and has 1 vote, regardless of their position. We operate at a modest 2 to 5% target profit margin. And we want to prove that a mission-driven business model can be sustainable and replicable. We are not a nonprofit. We are a for-profit. We aim to show that transactions do not have to be either purely charitable or exploitative to be successful. Okay, next slide, please. So these are some of the ways that farmers benefit and become successful business people. They share their resources and equipment. They share technical assistance. They receive pre-harvest financing, which is guaranteed from their farmer cooperatives. There's gender equity training, all kinds of cross-training, agricultural training, shared premiums, and voting rights in all of the cooperatives and the groups that we deal with. Next slide, please. So the Equal Exchange model also puts an emphasis on environmental stewardship and caring for creation. So there's no fossil fuel-based toxic pesticides sprayed on plants. Soil is enriched through composting and natural supplements versus chemical fertilizers. Next slide, please. And there's interplanting or biodiversity. So many different varieties of trees are planted together, like coffee and cacao and coconut and citrus trees. And there is not clear cutting practices. So this prevents soil erosion. And it also protects crops from pests and diseases because they're not all attracted to the same monocrop. There are many different kinds of crops. And also there's wildlife habitats are sustained through these environments. So there are birds that eat the insects. When you have a monocrop and a clear-cut crop, it often does away with the birds, the bird life. Next slide, please. So organic, fairly traded products reflect the true cost of production and labor. They change the way trade is done all over the world. They build strong communities. Farmers own their own land. They use premiums for social benefits like education, infrastructure, and healthcare. And they preserve the earth and contribute to healthy living soil and ecosystem. Another very big benefit of using these kinds of practices is that the laborers, the workers themselves, the farmers themselves are not sprayed themselves. In many plants, in many plantations, people don't use gloves, they don't use masks, they just spray, and the spray comes back at them. It burns their skin, it burns their faces, they breathe it in. It makes them also very unhealthy. So all of these farmers are engaged in sustainable agriculture. Next, please. So the Equal Exchange Interfaith Program is at the heart of Equal Exchange. All of our interfaith partnerships helped to build Equal Exchange into what it is today. The people who supported us from the beginning were church-based groups, synagogues, and also co-ops, food co-ops. But the church sector used to be about a third of our sales in the beginning of the organization. So they really helped to build who we are today. There are thousands of congregations that do church sales after services or run holiday bazaars. Obviously, this past year was a very difficult and challenging one, and churches were closed. But we're hoping people will be back after the pandemic. Thousands of congregations serve Equal Exchange coffee for fellowship hour. So it's been a real boost to the organization and to the farmers. Next slide, please. So the Presbyterian Coffee Project has been one of our most valued, strongest partners, and that's what your church is part of. And starting in 2001, this partnership between Equal Exchange and the Presbyterian Hunger Program connected churches and individuals to organic, fairly traded products. Next, please. So here are some statistics from your church. Fair Trade at the First Presbyterian Church. You've been Equal Exchange supporters since 2001. You've purchased over $4,500 worth of Equal Exchange coffee just in 2020. That's really pretty amazing. And we're so appreciative. Out of the 6,000 faith groups that have purchased from Equal Exchange, you were number 31 in rank. And then among PCUSA participants in the Coffee Project, you were number 8 among 249 participating congregations. So you should feel really proud of yourselves. We are really grateful to you and proud of you. And thank you for all of your work on this project. Next slide, please. So this is where, when you've gotten the Small Farmer Fund, the donation at the end of the year, it's been about 15 cents a pound for everything that you've purchased. This is where the funds have gone to the Civil Society for Poverty Eradication in Nigeria. And it's a project that supported 200 farmer households in the Demsa local government of the Adamawa state. And each group of 5 receives 1 water pumping machine for irrigation and farming, 10 kilograms of rice seedlings and vegetable seedlings, such as amaranth and okra. Next slide, please. Again, many churches were closed during the pandemic. There was no brewing of coffee. There were limited church sales. And so there is a big impact on the program. We're down about 19%, which will also have an impact on small farmers. And so it's been a very, very difficult year for small farmers. They've been, they haven't had access to, sometimes to food, to masks and gloves, they haven't had, their roads have been closed. So it's been, we all have to work extra hard to help the farmers in the next year. Next slide, please. So all of this really is part of what we call solidarity economics. And that is what is at the root of Equal Exchange. That is our core DNA. So the fair, I'm going to give you a little history. We're just going to keep that slide up for a second. The fair trade was a system that was started with progressives who worked in Latin America. They were priests in the Catholic Church who helped to form a more equitable system of economics. And there was a European fair trade system. The whole fair trade system originated in Europe, and it was trying to reconceptualize economics, which addressed poor people who were left behind. And Equal Exchange emerged along with these organizations from this movement. So the values emerged in the 1980s from the solidarity movement from the Catholic Church in Latin America. And the idea was from liberation theology. It was a philosophy advanced by clergy to feed and care for the poor. And so a growing number of groups of workers and producers had been excluded from the mainstream economic system, and we're getting deeper in debt and starving. I mean, it's going on today as well. So grassroots Christian leaders devoted to helping poor people saw a need to strengthen locally rooted ways to meet basic survival needs for local families. And some of the things that emerged from this period and from this movement were community associations, mutual aid societies, and savings and loan associations. So next slide, please. So in Europe and the US in the 60s and 70s, due to a growing dissatisfaction with the culture of the dominant market economy, a more privileged group of middle-class people created countercultural structures. And they were similar to those that were going on in Europe, and they were in the form of cooperatives. At that point, cooperative childcare, healthcare, housing groups came of age. And this was also going on at the same time as the US movement against the war of Vietnam at that time. a larger movement started forming, which solidified in the 90s. International and regional movements were learning from one another and were joining forces to create more democratic alternatives to existing market structures. And during this time, many of the brick and mortar food co-ops were established. And the food co-ops, as I mentioned earlier, along with the churches, were Equal Exchange's first supporters. And actually, even today, they still support our organization. Next slide, please. So if Equal Exchange works with Black and brown small scale farmers to help them participate in the US market that's getting products to you, the consumer. By so doing, we have helped to establish an alternative economic system that empowers farmers and helps to eliminate systemic racism and poverty. This alternative economic supply chain benefits farmers who might otherwise have to abandon their land and go to work in factories for a few dollars a day under very difficult conditions. And this is what solidarity means. It's a model that we're asking you to support. It empowers brown and Black farmers, as well as women, who are always the poorest members of society. Next slide, please. Many of the products that Equal Exchange sells are grown in other countries, cannot be grown in the United States. We work with 40 different small farmer cooperatives in 20 countries. Next slide. So this map gives you a sense of where the farmer co-ops are located. And during this presentation, given the limitation of time, what I will do is describe a handful of co-ops that are meant to illustrate how the Equal Exchange models helps to eliminate racism and systemic poverty. So the examples of co-ops that I'm going to give you are just, a few examples of the groups that we work with. And I would say that this work is truly inspirational. I mean, I've been a worker owner for, as I said, for 17 years. And each of the groups that we work with is a unique model, and it's really helping to change the lives of people in the area and the lives of the farmers. And so I would love to, tell you about all 40 of the cooperatives that we deal with, but it would be too much. It would be overwhelming. So the first, we'll go to the first example of a co-op that we deal with, and that's next slide, please. It's Proto Co-op in Nicaragua. And actually, the Presbyterians have traveled through PCUSA and the Hunger Program, I would say 10 times with us, with Equal Exchange to Nicaragua. Colleen has been there. Many Presbyterians have been there. We used to do delegations on a regular basis. We haven't been able to in the last couple of years, but anyway, Proto Co-op was Equal Exchange's first partner. Our first product was Nicaraguan coffee, so I thought it was fitting to just highlight Proto Co-op. And this relationship has survived many, many years. It survived war, embargo, revolution, counter-revolution, and also hurricanes. There have been a lot of extreme weather episodes. So the co-op was formed in 1993. It's an umbrella cooperative organization that brings together 38 village-level cooperatives from Esteli, Madrid, and Nueva Segovia in northern Nicaragua. It's made up of 2,400 small farmers. And because there's a tradition of women taking leadership roles in Nicaragua, 30% of the women who participate in Proto Co-op are women. So it's called a second level cooperative. It brings together growers and producers located in different communities and coffee areas. And it provides services such as marketing, agricultural extension services, training, credit, capacity building of cooperatives, coffee quality programs, and social development projects. Continuous education of members to expand each member's ability to be a strong farmer and a leader in his or her co-op and community is a hallmark of Proto Co-op's history. Since 1992, Proto Co-op has exported directly to international markets in Europe, the United States, and Japan. Okay, next slide, please. So Sopakti in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We just had a webinar on this last night, actually. This is an amazing project. So the Proto Co-op is in Central America, and we have a total of 12 coffee cooperatives that we work with. This coffee cooperative is in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It was started in 2008. It represents 11,736 producers, and 15% of them are women farmers. So Sopakti is located in, there's a lot to tell here, so I'm going to just try to be brief. But again, you can read about this on our website too. There's a lot of information on each of these co-ops under farmer partners if you want to look. So it's been the site of strife for 100 years. There have been warring groups trying to control the mines where minerals are mined for computers and electronics. And the thing that has really brought hope to this region is coffee and coffee farms. And so Sopakti's aim has been to bridge ethnic groups, produce high quality coffee as possible. It's really unique, delicious coffee. And each year the membership grows. And today Sopakti has more than 5,200 farmers in the co-op, speaking a variety of languages. So a very, very sad and tragic part of this story is that Sopakti is located in Kivu. It's an area that's been racked by ethnic and gender-based violence that has destroyed the local economy, and for a while even extinguished the coffee sector. So there's warfare here between groups, over 120 different militia groups, and these people use sexual violence as a way of, as warfare actually, against women and children, and sometimes men, mostly against women. So there's been a horrific occurrence that's traumatized women and families. And once a woman is violated, she's no longer accepted back by her family. She's ostracized in most cases. So it's a very difficult situation. As a result of this, a doctor, Dr. Mukwege, started the Pansy Hospital in 1999 to help provide women with surgeries to help them heal. And at this hospital, they also learn they stay on, they recover, and they become more independent through sewing projects, by making bags, becoming self-supporting. So over the 10 years of Equal Exchange has supported the Pansy Hospital. Through the Congo Coffee Project, we've been able to donate $110,000 to the hospital. And we have Congo coffee, and for every bag that you buy, $1 goes to the Pansy Foundation. So it's Sopakti coffee that an additional benefit goes to the Pansy Hospital to help women in this area. So it's become, the Sopakti has become a very successful cooperative. It has 21 sectors and women's groups, and the women save and for their personal investments. Sopakti now is supporting a clinic that's closer, called the Belenga Clinic, where people receive all types of medical care, and the workers in the co-op receive care. And now some of the purchases from the Congo Coffee Project go towards supplying equipment in this new hospital. So coffee has been the hope in this region. It has helped to rebuild the economy, and it gives people jobs. So next slide. So I want to talk about cacao, which is also known as cocoa, which is what makes chocolate. It's the agricultural product that makes chocolate. So Equal Exchange purchases cacao from the Dominican Republic, Peru, Panama, and Togo. And these countries were chosen to give market access to farmers who would not have had it otherwise. They're democratically organized into cooperatives and use organic farming techniques and grow very, very high quality cacao. There are ethical issues involving cacao. Unfortunately, even in 2021, there's forced labor and trafficking. Young boys are used to harvest the cacao. According to the US Labor Department report in 2015, over 2 million children are engaged in dangerous labor in cacao growing regions. So most of our cacao that we eat, without thinking about it, 60 to 70% of the chocolate that we eat comes from West Africa, from the Ivory Coast. People there only make about $2 a day. And so it makes it difficult to pay for hired labor. And this is why children have been exploited. And there, in terms of the chocolate industry, sourcing practices, there's been industry consolidation and geopolitical issues, which all contribute to the problem. The large corporations, it's very, very big business, and the large corporations refuse to change their practices and create regulations and laws so that this does not happen. So, you know, one of the issues involved here is that we as consumers demand cheap chocolate products. So, you know, we want things to be cheap. We're not paying for, you know, what the chocolate is worth. And so companies try to make it as cheap as possible. And this is how people get exploited. So it's important when you buy chocolate, in particular, given these exploitative practices, to really think about the chocolate that you're eating and try to buy fairly traded chocolate, you know, that you know where it's from, where it's sourced. Okay, next slide, please. So an example of one of the cacao co-ops that we work with, this is one of our newest co-op groups. It's called Scoops Ikba in Togo, and it was founded in 2008. And the cooperative is strong. The first cooperative that was established there organized over 20 villages. Each village has its own representative who brings the cacao to a central place. And out of that large original co-op, a second co-op grew. And Scoops Ikba came out of the first co-op. The first one grew too large for its region, and they split. And although it's a newer cooperative, Scoops Ikba has a vision for until 2030, which includes finding a solution to control the cacao pest, getting the whole region organically oriented for the health of the whole community, and being a strong example of a good cacao company, diversifying services that they offer their members, and establishing a microfinance system to give small loans to members at a competitive rate. They're also investing in new trees and farms. They planted 80,000 new cacao trees, and they're really a new participant in the cacao market, the cocoa market. So, and we're proud. Until now, the countries that we worked with in cacao were in Central America. So we were happy to start working with this new cooperative in Africa. Our next project, moving on, is the Palestinian Agricultural Relief Committee in the West Bank. I have visited there twice personally. It's a very, very inspiring project. I'm going to call it PARC, Palestinian Agricultural Relief Committee. It was founded in 1983 by agronomists and veterinarians in order to serve farmers in the agricultural sector of the West Bank and Gaza. Today, they work with 41 cooperatives, and each cooperative has anywhere from 20 to 80 members. These groups grow olives for oil, couscous, almonds, dates, and other products. We at Equal Exchange currently carry their olive oil and their dates. They're medjool dates, and they are luscious. They're so delicious. Anyway, small-scale farmers through their cooperatives share best practices for planting and fertilizing, plowing, pruning, harvesting, and packing products. They have these different packing facilities. They have women's co-ops, and PARC assists the co-ops by providing technical assistance, overseeing quality control, preparing goods for export. It's very hard to export their goods from the West Bank through Israel and Israeli ports. There are many checkpoints along the way. And they ship products through Israel to other countries. People in Israel, by the way, cannot purchase. They're not allowed to purchase the Palestinian products. PARC also helps to supply water infrastructure for the cooperatives, which is a major issue for co-ops in that area. And then plants and seedlings are also provided when necessary. And PARC also provides social services for women, children, and families through community-based organizations. In addition to promoting viable and sustainable economic development, PARC also helps to instill transparency, accountability, and democracy within all of its partner organizations and cooperatives. Okay, and the last group is going to be that I'm going to talk about is called New Communities. So you can see there's a lot here. There's a lot here, but you can take your time and read more about these on our site. And they're really amazing models of, helping to bring people out of situations where they have no jobs, where they're being paid very little, where they really have a difficult time surviving. So, so New Communities is actually a group in the United States. It's a group that we just started working with a couple years ago. It's a grassroots organization that's worked for over 40 years to empower African-American families in Southwest Georgia. And the founder, one of the founders is up there. Her name is Shirley Sherrod, and she's written a book about this. It's a group that advocates for social justice. It was born out of the civil rights movement and founded in 1969 as a farm collective to provide a safe haven for Black farmers and become one of the original models for community land trusts in the United States. Shirley Sherrod and her husband designed New Communities as America's first community land trust. And it was founded in 1969, almost 6,000 acres. It was the largest parcel of land owned by Black people in the whole country. However, they encountered substantial racism and systematic racial discrimination, just forcing them to limit their activities in many ways. There was white dominance at all levels of government, and so the farmers' interests were not protected. They faced discrimination from the banking system. They had a hard time accessing loans, and eventually New Communities, the original New Communities that was started in 1969, went out of business. So years later, through their sustained efforts, they never gave up the vision. They started a new group in 2011. And some of the farmers at that point were scattered all over, but Shirley Sherrod and others looked for land, and they just decided that they were going to continue this project, and they were not going to be defeated. And they found land in Albany, Georgia, an amazing property just outside of the city limits. It's called Cypress Pond Plantation, and it's 1,638 acres that was once owned by the largest slaveholder and richest man in Georgia. And at first, Shirley was uncertain that they should buy this land, but then they thought it would be a great symbol of, for Black people. And so what we do is we buy pecans from them. They do pecan cultivation, and they keep expanding. They've purchased more acres. And last year, Equal Exchange bought all of their pecan halves and helped find a buyer for the pieces that are a result of the shelling process. So through their project, they provide regular training for about 100 Black farmers in the area, hoping to expand their knowledge. Okay, I guess we have to move along here. Next slide, we're almost done. So this just shows you the partnerships in our supply chain. So number of countries in both our coffee and cacao supply chain are 17. Number of producer organizations, suppliers in coffee, chocolate supply chain, 40. The number of members in the supply chain, 151,919. The number of female members in the coffee and cacao supply chain, 15,145. So all of these farmers' lives and these producers' lives and people in the co-ops, members of the co-ops' lives are being changed by these by the projects with Equal Exchange. Equal Exchange. Next slide, please. So this gives you an idea of the impact. With coffee, $19.2 million in purchases, 88.1 million pounds of coffee imported, 196 containers, and that's the weight there. And then in chocolate, 3.9 million in purchases, 2.5 million pounds of cacao and sugar purchased in 51 containers, and that's the weight. So we have expanded over the years. We work with all of these different cooperatives, and even though Equal Exchange is still small compared to corporations, we are making an impact. But most importantly, we are creating a model, a new alternative economic model that's based on an alternative economic supply chain. And the whole point of it, we are mission driven, and our whole reason for being is to eliminate systemic poverty and racism and gender inequity. Next slide, please. So if you want to support what we do, put your values into action. I know many of you do this already, but please choose Equal Exchange Fairly Traded Products for home and to give us gifts, and use your consumer dollars well, and support other independent companies, and request ethically sourced products from your stores, and avoid purchasing from large corporations. Educate others. Next slide, please. Just to let you know, if you go onto our website, and Colleen knows about this, and maybe she already has some of these products in the market, mission market, but Equal Exchange expanded into other areas to help small independent businesses last year during COVID. And so now we have cheese from small cheese producers in the United States, 2 different groups. We have avocados from Mexico. We have pasta from a local group in Massachusetts. We have grains, and we have other grocery items. And some of these have our label, but some of these are just Equal Exchange trying to help independent businesses so that they don't fail. And that, a lot of businesses have been going under during COVID. So you can buy these groceries in cases, in 6-packs of nut butters, or other crackers or other things, and you can use that. You can buy directly from Equal Exchange and order from them, or order via Colleen. And that's what I have. I'm definitely ready to take any questions that you have, and I really appreciate you listening and thinking about this, and maybe changing some of your purchasing habits. This is a new model, folks, and we need to support it. We need to get more people on board. And this is definitely a step in ending systemic poverty and racism as well. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kelly. Will you stop sharing so we can see everybody again? Thank you. I'm salivating over all that cheese I'm looking at. Oh,
Cheese is good. It's really, really delicious.
It is, and I keep it in the refrigerator here at the church.
Oh, good.
I have both kinds of cheese, and I have 2 kinds of salami.
it's so good.
Yeah.
That's great.
I had the cheese this evening, and I had leftover pasta at lunch, and the pasta sauce.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad
Oh,
your
the pasta is
group
so
is
good.
using
Oh,
the
gosh.
grocery
Oh
products.
gosh.
So good to hear. Excellent.
Well, friends, what questions do you have for Susan? Miss Debbie.
Well, first of all, I want to say that Colleen certainly lets us know when it's time to order. So kudos to Colleen for putting the mission market just right out there up in front. My first question is that on the map where you showed the locations, a couple of the markers were different colors. And I didn't know what that represented.
You know, I'm not sure what it represents. I think that it possibly was, these are coffee cooperatives, these are cacao cooperatives. We also have fruit cooperatives and nut cooperatives. Colleen.
Madagascar vanilla was one of the colors. And
Yeah.
another different color was up in northern United States, I think, for these new cooperatives or businesses you're working with.
Yeah. I think I did not put the map together, but I think there was some attempted color coding, but we work with all different kinds of cooperatives, and I think that's what those markers were trying to show.
And then my second question was, you mentioned in one of the earlier slides, shared premiums. Is that shared profits? Is that what that means?
It means that farmers are getting paid above the floor price, above the price that's set for coffee. There's a world price that's set for coffee, that's set for cacao, for a lot of the commodities. And we pay above that price. And in addition to that, we give 10 cents per pound for a fair trade premium, and another 10 cents for an organic premium. And so the cooperatives get to decide where that money goes. They receive that money and they will vote on what they want to create. Do they want to create, you know, in one case in Sapakti, they built a water pump. They created a water pump. They've created clinics. They've created schools. Sometimes they'll buy a piece of farming equipment, or in some cases they'll want to buy computers for their office so they can do their work there. So, and then in some cases, sadly, you know, there are all these extreme weather episodes. So, you know, roads will get washed out from a big storm or a hurricane, and they'll have to rebuild a road, or houses will collapse. You know, they'll slide down the side of a mountain. A lot of these, particularly the coffee cooperatives, are at high altitudes, they're on the side of mountains. So they'll have to rebuild houses or roads, but the co-op gets to choose. They choose where they use this funding.
Wonderful. Kelly, did you have a question? You are on mute, Miss Kelly.
Okay, thank you. I just think this is so exciting. The humanity of it is just, it just makes me excited. And Colleen has been a very, very good advocate for equal exchange, but just hearing the scope of it and seeing the faces of the people that benefit. And I mean, it's such a massively good alternative to big grocery stores and the things that industry do. What are some ways that we can find out more, you know, whether it's books or, you know, just to get a grasp of equal exchange, I mean, of fair trade? You know, you started telling us something,
Yeah.
but what are some ways to get our heads around that?
So go to our website. We have spent a lot of time writing things, writing articles, making videos. So if you go to www.equalexchange.coop, which stands for cooperative instead of .com, COOP, go to our website and you will find, and go to the top, it says learn, it says about us, it says learn, it says to do more. Just look at all the different materials and articles and videos that we have. In addition, we do have a citizen consumers group where you can learn more. We have monthly webinars where you can go deeper and learn more about groups. We always have a featured topic. So that's another possibility. If you want to know more about that, ask Colleen and she can, you know, tell you how to get in touch with that group. But I would say if you go to the website and you know, tool around and, you know, go to look at all the different pieces of information about interfaith partners, farmer partners, all of the different people that we work with, you're going to be able to learn a lot.
Okay. Do you see the potential for more equal exchange activity in the United States, like the pecan farmers?
I mean, we're always trying to do more in the United States as well. And yeah, I mean, I think the cheese was a big step for us. Pecan, we've learned about this group, and we were just so excited by this groundbreaking activity and this way to support Black farmers in the United States. I mean, one of the things that we do as an organization is we locate groups. So we try to locate democratically run groups and groups with good missions and groups that are helping to eliminate poverty, eliminate racism, eliminate sexism. In the case of the grocery products, they were independent businesses that had no affiliation with corporations, and they were just trying to survive through the pandemic. And we just said, we're going to try to support these groups because they have good products, they're independent, they're trying to be, you know, small business people with a conscience, and we just we keep our eyes open. If you ever come across a group that you would like to propose to us, you know, please get in touch with me. You can do through Colleen, and let us know, because we are constantly looking for different groups in the United States to support.
Well, bravo. This is just, like I say, it's so exciting.
Well, thank you for your interest and your support, and you're one of our strong supporters, and we cannot thank you enough. So it's really great to be here.
I want to know who those top 7 Presbyterian churches are above. Because I have a hard time believing anybody outbuys us, but I could be wrong.
Susan, let me put a plug in for buying clubs. In addition to buying through the mission market or ordering on your own, you can establish a buying club in your neighborhood or with your book group or hiking club, and buy the case and divide it up. You still get that wholesale price.
She's thinking about that.
My buying club during the pandemic purchased $2,500 worth of equal exchange products.
Wow.
And there are only 8 of us in the buying club. We gave solidarity boxes for Christmas. We gave chocolate. I took chocolate to my postal employees. It's a fantastic way to build community and to buy more of the products at a very, very good price. So if you want to know how to establish a buying club in your neighborhood or with your group, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, during COVID, I did the same thing, even though I work at Equal Exchange. There were in my neighborhood, I organized I just reached out to about 10 people, and they're part of my buying club, and I order products every 6 weeks. And then because it's so close, I either walk them and I walk bags to their house and leave them on their porch, or I drive over and yeah, and people, it is really a great way to supply this alternative economic supply system.
Today, I received an email from the co-presidents of Equal Exchange. Very great letter, but the last paragraph said, what do we have to do to encourage you to dedicate 5% of your grocery budget to equal exchange products? I think probably Anne and Bill Myers already do that, because they come to see me every other week and buy a big order. I think Phyllis and Ely Driver almost come close to that, just buying Congo coffee, because they buy 3 bags at a time. I am taking appointments. You can call or email me. I'll meet you down here. Anne can tell you how easy it is.
That's great.
Yep. Yeah, basically I send Colleen an email to whatever she is back home, you know, her email, and it pops right up in my phone as soon as I hit her name or the start of the email. and tell her what I want. We have a friend in Maryville that will check in with us and say, hey, I want to buy some stuff. So we usually put in an order for him, and he comes and pays us for it and picks it up. But I just love the pasta. That is my new favorite thing. We've got leftover lentil soup going right now. It turned out really well. The split pea soup is also good. I noticed Meredith was talking about that. We eat, some fair trade chocolate pretty much every night. That's our nightly snack. But if this ever went away, we'd be heartbroken.
Yeah,
That's
we don't plan to.
if it went away, we'd be heartbroken.
We plan to stay here and not go away.
That's
You
good.
can also
That's
you can
good.
also combine, as it gets to be spring and summer, you can be part of a CSA and include equal exchange products, or carry other products that are fairly traded or from independent businesses, as well as equal exchange, and order from those groups with your friends and neighbors and fellow congregants. So there's just so many ways that you can go outside of the conventional market and buy your food differently and be supporting these alternative supply chains.
I want to put a plug in for their various seasonings.
Yes.
They've got, there's Zanzibar, and they've got all kinds of just very nice stuff in them. And the za'atar that you sprinkle around your olive oil and dip your bread in is just great. And I mentioned the dates already in the chat screen there.
Amazing.
They're just delightfully decadent.
Yeah. And I just ordered us some to take to Georgia next week. So
Yay, Georgia.
yay, Georgia. They get dates with cream cheese and pecans.
Wow.
The
Susan,
Bill Myers special.
yeah, Susan, thank you so much for being with us. It's a little past 7:30, so I want to respect everybody's time, but
One item, Colleen's got a birthday soon.
She sure does.
Yeah.
Happy birthday early.
Friday's her birthday, so y'all
Oh,
wish her a little bit of birthday love.
And maybe a chocolate bar or two.
But Susan, we appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you so much. It was really my pleasure to be here. And Colleen can direct you to all sorts of information if you need it. And thank you for your attention and your time and your commitment. I appreciate it.
So much,
Thank you,
Susan.
Susan.
thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
If anybody would like to have a virtual tour of the mission market, I'm going to go help Colleen in just a moment. But otherwise, if you'd like to place an order either in the chat, or I'm happy to write it down if you want to tell me online. Miss Pam has something.
Yes, I need to place an order, and I didn't know how to send my chat. I got it typed in,
No.
and I didn't get it. It didn't get sent. I'm not sure how to do that.
Hit enter.
Enter.
There's no enter there. It says
Hold on.
file, and I have 3 dots, and there's not an enter.
Well, that is not a problem unless I can't find a pin. Oh, I found a pin. Okay. All
And
right.
file doesn't say enter, and then the 3 dots says save chat. I don't have an enter.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Miss
I
Pam.
would like to order 2 bottles of the sun-dried fig balsamic vinegar. It is
Sun-dried
excellent for cooking
Fig.
Brussels sprouts in.
Ooh,
Sun-dried fig balsamic vinegar, 2 bottles. Cool.
Yes, thank you.
and I've used it on green beans.
Oh, okay.
I have a bottle.
And I think they're telling people.
FYI.
Anyone else?
Describe the cheese, what the options are on cheese.
We have 2. One is an extra sharp. Actually, you all keep talking. I'll run get them out of the refrigerator.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm interested too. Cool. Anybody else while we're waiting for her to come back?
To my order, Meredith, you can add the seasoning that Bill Myers was referring to that you add to the olive oil for dipping.
The za'atar stuff.
Thank you.
Miss Jane, what you got? Unmute yourself for me.
You want salami? I'll try the salami.
Salami, Jane?
Yes, please. And I'm not sure the choice is in olive oil. Do you know? Colleen's not there. It's been a while since I bought it, so I can't remember.
Well, yeah, we'll have to wait for, I think there's just one type of olive oil, but there's different kinds of like,
There's the big bottle and the little bottle.
Hang on.
There's also
Yeah,
oak
those
smoke.
ones.
There's an oak smoked olive oil in a small can.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Oak smoked olive
No,
oil.
I don't want the oak smoke. No, I don't want
No,
that.
I don't want that either.
Yeah.
there-
Who would like to make recommendations?
Right, so just
Honey,
a
tune the
regular
olive oil.
olive oil, regular olive oil. And then, Colleen, I can't remember. I don't drink coffee. I buy it from my family, but I can't remember what's popular. Just tell me what's popular.
Love Buzz is popular.
Love Buzz.
And we have that in ground. If people want to grind their own, there is nothing better than the Congo coffee. It only,
It was the Congo coffee they got before because they grind.
okay,
So, but just that one type. I don't have to know another type, right?
right.
Okay, a pound of Congo coffee, please.
okay.
And then what were the cheeses, Colleen?
Okay, the cheeses is extra sharp raw milk cheddar cheese. This is to die for. It is
Good.
gourmet extra sharp cheese. And the other is a 1 year aged heritage cheese.
Nah, it's too young. I'll take that, please.
Now,
Okay.
we also now have crackers to go with your cheese.
We're getting real fancy now.
Are the
Pam?
soup mixes gluten-free? Are there any of those things like that gluten-free? Like the soup mixes, do they all have flour in them?
I
I don't think any of them have flour, Pam.
They have a little spice seasoning pack, but it's just straight peas or
Yeah,
lentils.
lentils and then some spices, so.
That's hard. It's hard.
You're unmuted.
I'll
No.
take peanut butter, Meredith, too. Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Oh, we just have almond butter and tahini right now.
Okay, wait on that. No.
Okay.
Allergies, almond allergies, can't have that one. And what kind of pasta? Just,
Oh, okay, let me tell you about the crackers first.
yes, oh, yes.
Okay, these are Brewers crackers.
Mm.
They are upcycled grains that are a byproduct from craft beer making.
I have to have some of those.
Oh, interesting.
Brewers,
They're really good.
high quality sprouted and roasted grains in water to remove their natural sugars, leaving us with flavorful and nutritious saved grains. We have sea salt and
wow.
everything crackers. The everything has rosemary, thyme, garlic, and basil. This is the one I buy. Sherry Allison buys the sea salt.
They're both beer brewer crackers. Both of them.
Yes, yes.
I'll try the everything beer. I'll try the everything ones.
Okay.
Thank you. And dates, do you have the Medjool dates? Did you say-
I have to order them. They had been out of stock, and I am ordering, but I'll let you know as soon as the order comes in. I'll keep one for you.
Two, keep me two, please. I've just finished mine, so I need some more dates. Thank you.
Okay.
I eat them every day, a little more iron.
This is the pasta.
Yeah.
This is radiatore pasta, and this one is Crestigalo. They're both cute little.
Just the shape of them.
They are. They're cute.
Yep.
The first one that she talked about reminds me of the old fashioned ribbon candy. After it cooks, it has this real wavy, several rows of waviness in it. It's just, it is cute. I don't know how else to describe it, but.
Either one. Either one of those, Colleen, I'll take one. Do you have the main grains yet? Do you have the main grains? I saw the picture and that sounded good.
Yes, I don't have the main grain yet, but I have the buttermilk pancake and waffle mix and the old-fashioned buckwheat pancake mix. If there's enough interest in the grains, I will order that next time.
I just wondered if it was whole grains. We do a lot of bread making, and I have a vegetarian family, and whole grains are important. So I'll just check back with you on that. Yeah, I'll be interested.
They are whole grains, yes.
Yeah, that sounds great. The Madagascar vanilla, how much is that? Do I have to take a loan out for that?
Oh, no, actually, we don't have that. They use the Madagascar vanilla in their chocolate.
Oh.
But they're not selling it separately. But they are selling cinnamon, and I've got that.
Yeah, I have a ton of cinnamon right now.
Well, when you cooks are ready for cinnamon, this is royal cinnamon.
Royal.
Has been harvested in the mountains around the ancient Vietnamese capital city of Hue for centuries. The same species as Saigon cinnamon. This is an heirloom variety, not widely harvested or exported. So when you're ready for cinnamon, I don't know about you all, but I use lots of cinnamon because it's so healthful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you sold me. I'll try a bottle of Royals.
Okay.
A lot of this is going to Maryville. I cook a lot for my grandchildren are good eaters. And do you have lentils not in the soup mix? Do you have lentils by the pound? No.
Not by the pound. No.
I make my own.
Next.
Okay, I think I'm good then. I think I've checked.
All right, let me read you back what I wrote down, Jane, to make sure I got it all. I have salami, olive oil. Do you want a small bottle or a big bottle of olive oil?
Big bottle, please.
Big. Okay, the Congo whole bean coffee, a pack of that, the extra sharp cheddar.
Yes.
The everything brewery crackers.
Yeah.
The one of the pastas.
Yes.
And the cinnamon.
Yes. And what about the peanut butter? You
didn't have any butter.
I just have almond butter.
You just have almond butter. That's right.
Okay.
None in.
I got for Kelly in the chat, 1 fig balsamic vinegar lentil soup mix and the extra sharp cheddar. And then Pam, I've got the 2 sun-dried fig balsamic vinaigrettes and the za'atar stuff. All right. I hope that some of you are salivating. What else do y'all need?
I sent Colleen like 2 separate chats with what I'm.
Perfect. All right.
I actually want more stuff, but I'm going to stop right there.
I don't have those recorded, Colleen, but we can get them in the chat later.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Or do you want me to?
If you'll copy it in and copy it and put it back in to me or to everyone so I can see it.
Oh, okay. So you're
doing pasted and
okay.
Debbie.
Is the lentil soup mix organic?
You lost it.
Oh, I had it in my hand. I couldn't find it.
No. I'll do it.
No, it just says it's gluten-free.
Okay, thank you.
Meredith, since that says it's gluten-free, you can add one of those to my order.
The lentil soup mix?
Yes.
All right. It's really good.
One other thing I bet you would never imagine we would have, which is crushed tomatoes. This is a 28-ounce can. These are New Jersey tomatoes. This is a non-BPH lining can coming from trusted family farms. These crushed tomatoes with just a touch of salt are cooked in small batches, giving them a fresh and bright tomato taste that's perfect for all of your recipes.
How much is a can? You know how much they are offhand? No.
I can't remember, Jane. It's not I can't remember. I'm sorry.
No, I was just curious. I'll look at it next time I'm down there.
Okay.
I buy those the roasted crushed ones, organic. I've forgotten the name, but they're getting harder to find.
All right, who else wants to buy something before Jane buys it all?
I knew I had to stock up.
I love it.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm still waiting for Ann's, but that's
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I can't find, I can't figure out.
okay. I can find it later. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
If we need to, we'll text you if we need to.
Yeah, okay.
Jane, Loon,
Yes.
I keep the cheese in the refrigerator in the kitchen. So when you come to pick up your order,
Remember?
come up to the kitchen and get the cheese.
Okay, thank you.
Colleen, when should we come on a certain day, or do you want to yodel out to us? When should we come pick it up, and how do we know what to pay?
Okay, I will ring it up on our new credit card machine. It's wonderful. It never makes a mistake. And then I will send you an email with your total. You can pay online, or you can leave a check in the office with a notation for the mission market.
Okay, super.
But I'll give you your total. And I've been leaving the bag orders on the table in the office.
Okay.
I used to leave them outside, but I feel better about putting them in the office.
Excellent.
I heard from another person in another church someplace in this country who said she sets up one day a week for pickup, and she is there and can take credit cards or cash or check, whatever. What do you all think about that? I'd just like to get some feedback.
Yeah, I think that would be.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Order and shop, order or shop, or?
Well, now, like Jane, if you wanted to come down here so you could see everything, you and I just set an appointment and I'll meet you here.
Yeah.
And then you can shop in person.
Okay.
But for now, I'll fill your order and
yeah, let's just do that. And I have a question. Is the cheese like from Wisconsin area? I was curious about where.
No, it is from New York. No, Vermont.
Wow.
Wow, that'll be good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And these are small dairy farms. Actually, I do know the story about this. These are dairy farms that were about to go out of business because of the decline in purchasing milk. And rather than go out of business, they turned to cheese making.
Wow.
So this is literally saving these family farms from